Good afternoon. This is Jason Moss with the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance, and today we're having our fourth task force call, and pretty excited about sharing some information that we've received from the state of Georgia about the products that are needed in the fight against the coronavirus. So again, this is Jason with GMA, and I've just opened up the call. I've included in the show notes a link that was passed along to me from Ashley Varnum. She's the director of advanced manufacturing at the Georgia Department of Economic Development. She was working with Bert Brantley, and he was the COO of Department of Economic Development. And they've been tasked for gathering information about products that are available and manufacturers that want to participate in this war against the coronavirus. We asked them 2 weeks ago to give us a list of the products that were available, and I think Wednesday or Thursday the following week we ended up getting this list, or this link. And so this is kind of what we've got so far. It wasn't quite what I was hoping to get, but it's what we've got to work with. I clicked through several of the links that are included in this on this page, and found that there were companies selling T-shirts and a variety of different things. I'll let you guys make up your kind of determine how this is can work for you guys, but with that, I just posed a question to the crew here if anybody had seen this list before, or this email. And Gene, I believe you said that you had seen this before. Have you had an opportunity to kind of dig in or look through the information and the links that they've got provided on these pages?
Yeah. So what happened in my case is that I contacted Brent separately. I've had some previous dealings with the GDED, the Georgia Department of Economic Development, before. So, in so doing, I kind of introduced myself and kind of said, hey, I heard that you guys are going to do the list. Is it out? Is it not out? Just kind of got a little antsy. So I decided to kind of get a little head start to see if I can get something. And of course, I got the same thing.
Okay.
So what I've heard from people that have gone through this, it's not a state of Georgia marketplace, pretty obviously. It's Amazon, basically, in a better way of putting it, aggregating people that can supply materials or products that can fight the COVID-19 pandemic battle.
Right.
And depending on whether it's something that people would want, and this goes from a company level, corporate level, state level, national level, whatever the case may be. If they like the price and they like the product, then through the marketplace, they buy. Mm-hmm. Right? And once it goes on the list for a certain period of time, if there's no real takers, then it goes on what's typically considered as Amazon as we know it, right? You go and click, and if there's face masks, you become one of the products amongst the many that's on the list, and people either click on it or don't click on it. That's basically what I think the process is supposed to work as. I haven't gotten that far, obviously. None of our products are actually in that boat, but at least in terms of what was explained to me, that's how this whole process actually works.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, it's very helpful. I appreciate that, Gene. And is anybody else had any engagement with Economic Development, Department of Economic Development, as far as the coronavirus? Has anybody been contacted by the state based on the list and information that they provided on the state's webpage? By show of hands, or unmute your line. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Okay. So we have had some success on GMA, making some connections and that sort of thing. And I want to open up the line, and anybody would like to share what their experience was. Actually, before we do that, I'd like to bring Kim on the line with us. And I know you have been working with a lot of different projects, trying to get some stuff going. I want to get your insight and input about what you've seen so far, and what maybe we could be doing differently or better. Nope, hold on a second. Stand by. Let me get. Okay, now you should be good.
Okay, good to go. Can you hear me?
We're golden.
All right. So it's not directly related, but it is a little bit. This week, Okabashi just started shipping out our 1-for-1 orders going to frontline healthcare workers. So we have done a big push to buy one, send one on our e-com sites, where we are sending out shoes. And shoes might not be essential, but we are sending them out to healthcare workers. And I just wanted to share it because it really brought a smile to my face this Monday morning to see some of the really wonderful messages from people, because we allowed people, when they placed an order, to put a message that would go out to whoever gets the donated pair. And we got some really, really awesome feedback from people, really heartwarming. And it's just, there's been such a great response that that's a good opener. I wanted to share that because there's a lot of, tough news and negativity out there, and, in the news and things that are going on. So when you get a little bit of positivity for your Monday morning, that's, or Monday afternoon, it's already afternoon. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's still morning to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just a real positive that I saw this morning. We are seeing a lot of volatility on when it's coming to any of the like masks or anything else that we're trying to get into the U.S. It's a real big struggle to get anything here. I don't know if anybody else is dealing with international freight right now, trying to connect some of these like the KN95 masks to police departments or hospitals or anything, but it's a big struggle because international air freight really relies on passengers, like commercial airlines, and those are essentially non-existent at this point. So that has been a struggle that I've been dealing with in the past week, just trying to make connections to people who really need these supplies, because we don't directly make some of those. So we were just trying to do some connections there, and again, we've been bumped off a couple flights. It's been a struggle, and I'm sure if anybody else is trying to import those items, they're probably seeing the same thing. So it's been a little bit of a tough space right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got you. Well, tell us a little bit about the program you got. You said the buy one, give one. Tell me a little bit more about that. How does that work?
Yeah. Yes, we put together it's on our e-commerce site, just our okabashi.com, where if you order a pair of shoes, we were also donating a pair to a frontline worker, healthcare workers. So it's just something we put in place because we were trying to think of how we can help or how we can brighten somebody's day, even though, flip-flops are not strictly an essential product. Although the nice part is we've been seeing things in the news about how everyone is washing their hands like crazy. Everyone's wearing masks, but the other part you might not think about is when you're walking through Costco or the grocery store or whatever, your feet are touching everything. So either designate a pair of shoes to be something that you're wearing when you're going out and about and you're shopping, or make sure it's something that's machine washable, because otherwise you are tracking everything in that store back into your house, unfortunately. So that's something that's really easy to overlook. And we were sharing because our shoes happen to be machine washable. You can actually autoclave them, although I know none of us have an autoclave at home, but they can be fully sanitized. So that was another reason for us sharing them and sending them out, is that they can be fully sanitized.
Okay.
So just a nicety, not an absolutely essential good, but it's just a little bit of happiness.
I love how you're thinking and being able to share like that. We'll make sure that we communicate that not only through the show notes, but I'll make sure we push it pretty heavy through social as well. So thanks for sharing that. I tell you, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out better ways that we can make connections, and I want to open it up. LD, tell me a little bit about what's going on over at the Fastine space. What's shaking in y'all's world? I know you guys have been making some masks and a variety of different things. Tell us what that's looking like.
Yeah, pretty much same stuff that we were doing last time that we all got together. Still making, selling some of the face shields. The owner here, Corrine, has been sewing masks as well, just on her own time so we can put those things together, since they aren't, FDA. You know, they're not, you know, really protecting the healthcare workers, but in conjunction with some other stuff that they're useful. I just donated 15 of them to an oncology ward that their nurses were getting 1 mask a week. And yes, it was insane. And yeah, my girlfriend was going for her treatment, and one of the floors, all the nurses had the masks, but on the first floor, in the admin area, they were getting 1 mask a week. They had to give all their PPE to the emergency rooms. So then it was told to them they didn't have a budget to buy more masks, which was insane to me. So I bought 15 of them and went and dropped them off. So I mean, we are doing, trying to, if we hear of a need, try to fill it. We just started making for the businesses that are still having to have contact with people. We've been making these countertop shields. So just, you know, a piece of acrylic that has a stand on it, and then a little opening if you have to take payment, you know, credit cards and stuff. So we've started to make those. We've started to get a handful of orders in for that. Still doing curbside pickup signage, social distancing signage, as far as, you know, where to stand, where to sit, things like that. So that's still, you know, still a focus. I was telling you earlier, Jason, that we've seen a few customers that are moving forward with projects where they have time on their hands and they can start to move a little bit forward with some of the things. Staffing agencies we've had 2 signs that are open, you know, they're opening. Those guys are going to be really busy. So you see certain markets that are really, you know, they've not stopped. I mean, they've gained some traction, but then you have your other ones that are just sort of sitting in the water. You know, my husband DJs, and so he's not had an event in, you know, past 6 weeks, and all events he's had has been, you know, canceled for the next almost month and a half. So in our mind, you know, still when they go back to work, how can we sort of help protect the DJs, because they're going to be dealing with, you know, a bunch of people. So we're, you know, as far as projects here, looking forward to when people do open, to still give them some sense of protection until the threat is all gone, you know. So we're still trying to figure out solutions that way that we can do with the products that we have and the equipment we have. So that's sort of where we're at, what we're doing.
I love it. I love it. Now, that frontline stuff, I mean, you know, being able to give back into the community, and basically, as I read through this information that you know, that was provided through the state, you know, effectively there's the Amazon marketplace, and then there's get with your local hospital and, you know, healthcare providers, and pretty much that's the guidance that
we just
this
been calling people and saying,
Yeah.
hey, you guys need anything,
right.
Just in this area. So that's sort of what we've come up with to try and help.
Yeah, and it pretty much, that's what this is broken down to. There is, you know, a couple links to different organizations that help, you know, got a mask, match a mask, or, you know, there's two or three different national links of organizations that are trying to help bridge this gap. I know that we don't have the bandwidth to do that internally. You know, I mean, we're going to do what we can. We're going to continue to do these task force calls to see what we can make direct connections. That's what we're committed to do. But as far as building a huge database and trying to pair a bunch of stuff up, that just doesn't align with what we do. Most everything else that I saw on this page and the links that they provided were national in scope. There's not really anything in the, you know, directly supporting Georgia on either side of it that I could find. And maybe they've added some to it since I reviewed it the last time, but that's kind of where we're at. So I appreciate and applaud you guys for doing what you're doing, you know, trying to, you know, make an impact. And that's what we're here to do. I mean, you know, connect the dots if we can. Now, what I'd like to do is kind of open this up to some other folks on the call and kind of get your feel for what's going on in the marketplace. Mike, what's going on with you guys? Tell me what's shaking in your world, and how can we add value on y'all's side of the house.
Hey, Jason, I'm sorry I was distracted for a second.
Gotcha.
Well, the thing that we're trying to pay more attention to, I'll say facility management. You know, being in the industrial real estate business, you know, it's a elephant business. When it moves, it moves. When it doesn't, it doesn't.
Mhm.
But looking at wellness, which is part of LEAD, and whether this be the distancing of people,
Mhm.
workstations, machinery. So all this is going to be another process that's starting.
Mhm.
Yes, we're coming out of the emergency stage, but what does it mean as far as something as simply as a space plan? You know, whatever you're doing right now, do you need more space, less space? Do
Right.
you have more heads, less heads? Do the heads have to be farther or closer to each other? So those are the real estate issues that are really facility issues.
Mhm.
So whether you own your building, whether you rent your building, those are things that I think going through this time period where it could be a next planning as far as coming out. So that's what we're advising folks about, and how it comes back to their financial obligations with whether it be leases or mortgages or anything else. So, you know, a deal is still a deal in the real estate business.
I got you. I got you. Cool, cool, cool. And, you know, I think we're all going to be, you know, kind of changing our game plan. You know, I know LD was talking a little bit about, actually, let's bring you back online if we can. You're talking a little bit about the change in market and people opening deals back up. I know that your husband's going to be kind of pushed back. Does he have any gigs? Has anything rebooked for him in the future, or have they just got it on a temporary hold?
I'd say it's, his weddings have been pushed off, rescheduled. Proms canceled.
Gone. Yeah.
Graduation parties canceled. Uh, yeah, birthdays, yeah, stuff like that. So there's been a portion that have just canceled.
Sure.
Your weddings, I want to say there was just one wedding that had canceled right at the beginning.
Mhm.
But I want to say that all the family was coming in from Europe, from England.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's definitely now the fall. I mean, I'll never see them because they've been booking up, and, you know, in the fall and stuff like that. But as far as the summer gigs, I mean, you have people that have some stuff in May that have said, we're just going to wait and see. They haven't
Sure.
canceled yet, but that's where they're heading. Just because even if they might feel comfortable, the nature of something where you're going to have a DJ, everybody's going to be in each other's faces,
Sure.
you know, in each other's space. The DJ's there to get people to dance on the dance floor. So that they're now they have an AV department within their company, which all those events, I mean, you guys even know, have probably had events that, you know, are canceled, and they're just going to do their expos next year, or the trade shows next year. So the AV department has been hit a little bit harder than the DJ side of things, because those big shows like that, the time is come and gone for those events, you know. So as far as, because there might be just one a year.
Right.
And as you know, how much time it takes a year to plan for something like that.
Oh,
So
you can do it in a couple of weeks. No big deal.
well, you know, like, you know, if you're Jason Moss. So yeah, so there's definitely there's things that you know, the money that won't be made back up, but then there are ones that have just been pushed off to the future. And still, even then, that might change as well, depending on how this all unfolds, because it's going to be all about people's comfort level. Just because you might get the green light to go out, to be in an event scenario, it's one thing to go back to work, but to go into an event, it might be a little bit unnerving to some people. And a wedding, you're having all age groups there. So, you know, just I think people trying to
I hadn't thought about that.
cautious of what people's comfort level is. And so, you know, we were even talking about room design. So I think that, he just left, the real estate, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, talking about just different, you know, the way you're going to space things out. So when you were talking about events, you know, maybe if people are still uncomfortable, okay, versus having all your tables right up on each other, maybe you have the spacing differently. You know, so there's just a whole new way of starting to think about things when it comes to event planning, and trying to keep people comfortable and safe. I mean, you're there to celebrate. So it's, it's a little bit of a weird time for them in the company. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Koki? Yeah.
Yeah, Jason, I would like to add to that, to what LD said, but also what Mike McShane said. Two things professionally on the event venue. They are saying, just like what LD said, spacing will be different when you have maybe a 72-inch table with 10 people on it. Now maybe if it's statewide mandatory, maybe you can only fit 5 people. So now your attendee pricing is going to change, or your caterer that you had a budget for, or maybe a contract for, $50,000. Now you only have half the people to feed. Can you change that contract? But also, personally, my son is getting married on October 24th, and we have a venue that holds maybe 200 people. And we were going to cram that place between the dance floor, the band,
Sure.
the people,
Yeah.
But, so now what do? Do we postpone it so that we can have more people next year when the ban is being lifted, if a vaccine is being found? Or do we have the wedding in my backyard and have a party for less people later on? It's a big dilemma. I mean, and most contracts, the clause to look for in force majeure is impractical, which means that people can attend, but they're afraid to because they'll get the virus. Or
Right.
like doctors don't want to attend an event because if something happens to them, they can't work anymore. So that clause is not always in force majeure, and that's a big deal right now. How do you solve that?
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're looking at as an organization too, is trying to decide how this is going to shake out for the summit. So by actually down we did this on a call earlier today, but over in the chat box, I'd like everybody to answer 2 quick questions. Number one, first question is, what month will you feel comfortable going back either to attend an event, a trade show, or exhibit at a trade show? What month? You can do April, May. I don't know if you can go April, that's quite, but give us the month that you feel that you will be comfortable going back to a trade show or exhibiting. Okay.
That I am comfortable, or my
You are
wife is
comfortable.
sending
You are comfortable. Yeah. Personally. Okay. This is pretty interesting to see the numbers and where folks are at. And then now on the second question was, what was the second question, Cookie? Was are you going to do the same on as exhibiting as a business? Are you going to do the same, less, or more trade shows between now and the end of the year? Same or less trade shows. And Koki did a fantastic job of summarizing all these and giving me a really neat little tally sheet on the last call. So we're going to add these to it. All right. So thank you guys for sharing that, because we're looking for hard data to decide, on our decisions on how we're going forward with GMA. I mean, because right now we have the opportunity to scale it back just a little bit if we need to, or make it bigger. It's kind of 2 schools of thought. Either this is going to be the biggest, baddest event we've ever had with huge attendance because everybody is tired of being sheltered in place and they've got cabin fever to beat the band, or people are going to be still a little skittish and maybe not be as aggressive on going out and doing events. So that's kind of where we're at. So thank you for that data for sure. All right, Mr. JT, tell us what's going on in your space, brother. What's happening?
Hey, appreciate that, Jason. I'm trying to become a better virtual salesman. I've been in outside sales for the past 20 years, and that's quite a transition. So how do you sell glue systems and equipment without being on somebody's floor?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the exciting things is we did bring on a disinfectant that's effective against COVID-19.
Nice.
The hard surface disinfectant, you spray it on and it just dissolves. And that's what we're trying to get into the marketplace now. Actually put that on the website for Georgia.
Okay.
Having everything back. It's produced by HB Fuller. It's in conjunction with them. I sell a 5-gallon pail for $55. That's $11 a gallon, which if you're buying Lysol, you know that's pretty good price.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to get out into the marketplace to help with the virus. When we're selling glues, that doesn't really fit into that, but it is supplied by one of our suppliers, and so it kind of does fit. So that's where we're at, just trying to figure out how to get that out into the marketplace and sell it. So that's what we got to offer.
I got you. Are you talking to any of your key customers? I mean, are you seeing them coming back online, or having any plans right now to pick up orders that they had initially established? And what's it looking like for you in that state?
Yeah, I've got 3 projects that were put on hold because they're equipment installations and just having guys on the floor with that. My key customers, they'll talk to me on the phone, but actually getting into their plants, that's all been put on hold.
Okay.
My current business has stayed steady, just haven't been able to add anything to it. Obviously, no prospecting. Some prospect through LinkedIn, but I'm really looking forward to the networking seminar you're having Wednesday.
Yes.
There's some things going on with LinkedIn that I'm not getting the responses that I really would like.
I got
You know,
you.
one out of 50 hits isn't real good in my.
That's a lot of work, man.
It is, man. It is.
Yeah. Hey, brother, we're all in it. I mean, all of us are selling something. That's
Absolutely.
If you bottom line it, everybody's selling something to somebody, you know, or we're not. There might be an exception to that, but I hadn't found it yet.
No. Jason, I love what you're doing. I'm here to help you, man.
I appreciate that. Well, one of the things, you know, and I mentioned on a previous call is, you know, we do a lot of work. I just got my copy of Trade Show Executive in, and this is about to say, this is the bloodletting that's never been expected. So that's just part of the deal. But based on some of the statistics that are out there in the trade show space, I was really shocked to find out that the numbers that are out there is in Q1 and Q2, because of the coronavirus and the canceled shows, there is $154 billion. That's with a B. $145 billion of sales that are either going to be canceled or delayed because of there's no trade shows going on right now. And so people are going to have to figure out different ways. All of us. I mean, I'm all about trying to figure out what makes sense. You know, I mean, I want everybody to be there September 15th. But outside of that, you know, what are people doing differently in their marketing to be able to backfill $154 billion in sales? Right. So I'm seeing that September, because think about it, when you go to a trade show, you know, especially when you go to our event, you know, that's just as a baseline, you know, not only are you learning best practices, but you're building your network. You might be there with a booth selling stuff, but on the flip side of that, you're connecting with other suppliers and you're buying from those folks, right? So you're buying and selling. I mean, transaction going both ways. You're finding the great suppliers. You're finding the new places to sell. So when that goes away, what are we going to do, and how are we going to flip this so that it can be, you know, JT, I get it. I love belly to belly sales. I mean, I'm going to go knock on the door and we're going to have a conversation and see if it makes sense. And if that goes away, that's one piece of it. But a lot of companies rely heavily on the trade show space. So how are we going to backfill that? We got to come up with new creative ways to continue business and build these relationships. I mean, I'm praying that this is going to, you know, backfill a little piece of the, the gap there. But, you know, I'm excited to see what goes on. Now that is actually for a different call. So we've got give you a lineup of what we've got teed up is this task force call. We've been doing it on Mondays at 2:00. Starting next week, we're transitioning this call to a Tuesday 10 a.m. call, right? And what I want to do is I want to bring the success stories that we've had, because we've had several deals that have gone through that have taken place as a result of these calls. We want to bring all the winning stories that we've had as a result of this. If you got anything on the fence, this gives us a good reason to go ahead and close it and make it happen between now and next Tuesday. So we're going to shift this call again from 2:00 on Mondays to 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. So Monday is going to be a town hall. Tuesday is going to be task force. This Wednesday, you mentioned it, JT. I appreciate you bringing that up. Is we're going to be doing a networking, business to business networking. It's the first 30 people that sign up. we had a little bit of a hiccup with our registration process, but I think we got that straightened out now. But we'll keep it. Half of it will be manufacturers, the other half of it will be non-manufacturers. Matter of fact, I'm gonna check something real quick, because if it fills up, I'm gonna have to fix it. But that's the game plan. So this will be a virtual networking. This is our first run at it. As soon as we fill that up, we may open up a second or a third networking throughout the week, so we can continue to get to know each other and build these relationships. And then on Thursday, we're going to have a recovery roundtable. So talking about how are we getting out of this? What's the next steps? You know, one of the pieces, and LD, I appreciate you sharing the statistics about the hospital not having masks, because my concern is we're going to end up with that bullwhip effect in the supply chain. Everybody says we need masks, we need masks, we need masks, and everybody and their brother's going to hit the dock with millions and millions of masks overproduction. And then what are you going to do with them? I mean, you can't eat them, right? I mean, they're not, no matter how much mustard and ketchup you put on them, they're probably not going to be too tasty. But, you know, we need to fill the need, but we also don't need to be insane about production of them either, right? I have not ordered my sewing machine through Amazon yet, because I know some people that actually could put those to good use. But I want to contribute. I want to help if we can. And if we can, you know, let's use this call to make the connections that make sense, right? Let's work on what we can do. I know that Gene, are you online with us still? Can you just share a little bit about, were you able to make, I know I made an introduction or two. Have you been able to connect the dots on any of those intros yet?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to kind of save the best for last, but since you already mentioned it. This kind gentleman named Jason Moss, he introduced us to World Emblem. Traditionally, literally as it says, it's an emblem manufacturer. They patches on jackets and hats and, you know, other types of apparel. They've converted over to actually make masks to kind of help fight the COVID-19. They have manufacturing in Mexico, but because of the sheer volume that they're getting both from Mexico and the US, they decided to transfer over some of that manufacturing capability here in the US. We just got our first PO for filter material from them today. You know, we've been in constant contact ever since Jason introduced us. I don't know, close to about 2 weeks now, I think, Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and we actually have a second project with them also, which involves making material as well. So it's going strong. And as I mentioned in the previous call last week, still waiting on FSI, which has been talked about in AJC about their efforts making medical gowns. That project is still going. We haven't gotten the official go-ahead yet, but just the sheer number of gowns that they're supposed to produce is going to fall one way or another. So,
okay.
We're waiting on that. And we're getting just a lot of inquiries from a lot of different states, a lot of different organizations, asking for filter material, asking for alternative material, other ideas for all types of medical apparel, you know, both frontline and for secondary line protection.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's a huge win, man. I'm excited about that, and I appreciate you know, making those connections. We're going to be committed to helping continue to make these connections. If you bring something to the table, if I don't see it initially, if it doesn't, you know, if you don't get pretty quick feedback from us, feel free to reach out to us. I mean, call us here at the office. I'm here Monday through Friday, you know, or catch me on my cell. We're committed to help make the connections if we can. So I'm glad to hear that fit, you know, and Jim had called just out of the blue and said, hey, you know anybody that might can make those connections. So pretty excited to be part of that as well. So I want to open up, Roger, you got anything shaking on your end on the task force side?
Well, there's a trade show that the Engineering Society has been invited to. It's scheduled for July.
Mm-hmm.
And I was calling them to figure out if they're still doing it in July. But I noticed they have publicity out for the same trade show in Dallas in June.
Interesting.
Yes. I talked with 2 legislative offices this morning. The the most complete rumor is that the legislature will reconvene in August.
Okay.
So I shared earlier an idea that if you have people sharing computers, keyboards are cheap enough that you could dedicate a computer to each person, or a keyboard to each person. So they could take their keyboard home with them at night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool.
And the same with the mouse. They'll have to sanitize the desktop and so forth, and where they make the connection to the computer. But otherwise, how do you clean a computer keyboard?
You lick it. No, don't do that.
You do that, and the next person won't want to touch it. Yes.
Just do it one time is all it takes, and nobody else will touch it the rest of the day.
The mention of having dedicated shoes. Yes, I have dedicated shoes.
Cool.
I have a set of dedicated clothes that I go in and out through the garage.
And if you're on this call, you should have a pair of dedicated okobashis sitting near the house before the end of the day. You can go to okobashi.com and buy them, or you can go to buyfromgeorgia.com and click on the clothing and go right through there as well. So go buyfromgeorgia.com and make sure you get some ordered up if you don't have them already. Perfect. All right. So we have A. Pearson. Is that right? Once, tries. All right.
Mute. Hey, there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amy Pearson. Y'all, I was not prepared to be on camera today. I do not have my face on. My hair's not brushed, so that's not going to happen, but I will prepare next time.
No worries.
But yeah, I just had an opportunity to go to one of the networking lunches in Alpharetta right before all this hit.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to learning more about your association and see where I can bring value. I'm a national account manager for ADT Security. So, we're doing a lot of training, of course, to make sure everybody's in front of their computer while we're trapped at home. And there's been a lot of talk about, the use of thermal cameras as we reopen the businesses. And
right.
Have y'all heard anything about that or any interest in that? Because it's something that they may not have had the not only the budget, but even be thinking that far advanced. But now with thermal imaging, where you can take your temperature, that's going to be part of the plan to reopen these businesses and keep the workers safe and make sure that nobody's coming in sick. So I hadn't heard anybody mention that during this call, but it's something that I'm kind of tracking and interested in. And my business has really dried up, my pipeline, as JT was talking about. We're all in sales, but had a lot of big projects that just, went on hold. I mean, they shut down all their U.S. offices. I have a couple of restaurant companies that were trying to stay afloat through the takeout business, and I'm certainly doing my part to support them. But like First Watch Cafe, they had to close all 300 locations, hoping to open back up the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of unknown and fear out there.
Yeah. Well, are you guys geared to do the thermal scanning as employees come in? Is that a feature that's already baked into y'all's product?
We're in the process. There's a lot of garbage out there and claims that they can quickly and effectively and efficiently monitor people's temperatures. But if you've got a shift change at 3 o'clock with 200 employees coming in and out, that's what we're trying to vet to make sure that our partner, who we would be bringing to the end user, is telling the absolute truth on that, because we have to stand behind our product. And so we're still vetting out different suppliers that can do that. But yeah, there are cameras out there that can do it.
Okay, perfect.
I saw something on LinkedIn about an engineering company that was setting that up for their facility.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Tyson Foods is testing out a few of them. So there are companies that are testing the thermal camera. But again, you've got to have a way to set it up so that you can handle the volume, of people coming in and out at a shift change and not have too much of a bottleneck. I think we're all going to have to get used to standing in line, much more so than we used to. But there's some really interesting technology out there that I think will help us get back to our new normal.
Right. Right. Well, funny you mentioned standing in line. You know, there's a group, Atlanta Tent and Events. Atlanta Tents and Events. They're partnered with us up on a couple of different things, and they've committed to giving GMA special rates, because what they found is, you know, they had a ton of stuff. I mean, they had the Final Four, and they had the the Masters and all that stuff. They do big events, right? And what we found was that they needed to reset their business really, really quick. And they found that, being able to bring people and stage them as they come in during shift change to do whether the touch temperatures or what. But it's really neat to see how that's, excuse me, I said Atlanta Tents and Events. It is Peachtree Tents and Events. Thank you, Koki. But if you're interested, in finding out more about that, or if you run into facilities that need that, what they're finding that, the break rooms usually have 4 or 5, 6 chairs around a small table. They're helping companies expand their break room capacity outside, being able to bring those things in. And so there's some pretty neat resources that are out there. So let us know if there's anything that we can help in that arena. All right, Ms. Smith. Can you hear us okay?
Yes. Good morning. Hello. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. So I feel like I'm crashing the party here. I'm from Southern California. I'm an administrator at a technical school associated with Chaffee Community College. And I became familiar with the Georgia Alliance through Gus Whalen years ago. So I was invited to his manufacturing summit. So we became good friends. I just wanted to hear what you're doing in Georgia versus what we're doing here in SoCal. I'm from a strange city called, well, the city's not strange. The name is Rancho Cucamonga is where I am right now. And so partway between Palm Springs and LA, basically. And we have a manufacturing association in our region. And we're just looking at, how we might network or collaborate, or what kind of synergies there might be with relationship to how we want to come back economically after this. We've got over 4,000 manufacturers in our county. We're the largest county in the U.S. So got a lot of territory, geographically the largest. So we're larger than 5 other states. So we've got a bit of ground to cover here.
Yeah, I'd say.
We just, we're going to be hit hard because we do have a lot of manufacturing in our region. So some of it's going gangbusters, and some of it may be similar to you folks there in Georgia, where some are, having to fold up the tent, and others are just really expanding. That's my purpose for being here, just to glean what I can. And if we can help you at all in SoCal, we're here to do that.
Yeah, we'll probably pick your brain a little bit on some future calls for sure. And you are welcome anytime to come hang out with us. We'd love to have you guys on board with us. And there's a whole list. If you go to the Manufacturing News Network, down at the bottom, there's a list of all the calls that we've done to date. We've done about a month and a half worth of calls, doing at least 1 or 2 calls a day. So there's all different types of roundtables and interviews and task force calls. We have a fun Friday, but we don't tape all of that because just because we're not going to do that. But
I get your newsletters all the time, but I'm never in a space where I don't get interrupted. So now I am.
It works out there. So
yeah, I'm glad to be participating.
Glad to have you on board with us for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. All right. And have we got anybody else that we're missing? Anybody else like to add? All right. Miss Brittany, what's your favorite part about the call so far?
Oh, goodness. Just seeing everybody's faces again. Debbie, welcome. Like we said, welcome anytime. Kim, I've heard that before where it's on the shoes. You said the shoes all of your shoes are washable. Is that correct?
They are machine washable, yeah. Or technically they're dishwasher safe too, which is sort of, I know it sounds crazy, but we have customers put them in there. I personally put them in the washing machine first, but they do come out sparkling clean.
Okay, that is definitely very good to know. Those very comfortable shoes. I love them. I guess having everybody on here and working together and still trying to network and showing everybody that we're still moving along, and COVID-19, we're going to beat it, and we're going to be all right. Looks like we're all going to be all right.
Yep. Keep plugging at it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Brittany. All right, Miss LD, what's your takeaway, favorite part about today?
Finding out that the shoes are dishwasher safe was just fantastic. I would love to see the look on my husband's face when I go ahead and pop my little okabashis in there next.
They might be dishwasher safe at your house, but you ain't met Miss Candy yet.
Guess I wouldn't recommend putting them in the dishwasher with your other things. I'd probably put them under the
I do my ball hats with it too.
Those would be a one-time thing in the dishwasher with nothing else.
Right.
Well, actually, I would like to say, Kim, the ones that I went on a tour there, and the ones that I got that I do, I've worn those out, and I actually I end up wiping them down with like my little Clorox wipe when I get home. And it's just they're great for that. Yeah. But I like the collaboration and everybody here showing up, and everybody's willingness to throw out some ideas. And Koki, I feel for you where you're at with the wedding, even though it's out in October. I mean, those are a lot of things to consider. You just got to play it by ear. But yeah, just good to see everybody. Love seeing Heather and Brittany's face, and all y'all again. And so yeah, I look forward to. I just signed up while we were here for the Wednesday networking. That had sort of missed my radar. So I'm glad that was brought up, because I just signed up for that. I think that this is. I mean, it's just a great resource. And I appreciate, Jason, all of the events that you continue to do to keep us all connected, because it's just, I mean, this is our temporary new norm, and it's helpful to make these connections still. So, yeah, cool. Appreciate it.
Thanks, LD. And thanks for all that you guys are doing. We're going to help support in any way we can there for sure. All right, Ms. Koki, you've been taking a bunch of notes. What's your favorite part?
What was interesting before all these calls, I was looking at the youngest generation and how it's taken over a lot of management positions in companies. But their main qualifications were not only life-work balance, but also corporate social responsibility. And after Kim said, buy one, give one to the forefront of people, the people at the forefront. It's kind of interesting to see. I'm going to do some research on my own to see how many companies are continuing their corporate social responsibility. I see a lot of companies that are, boxing food and giving it to the food pantries that are running dry, which is great. But I think Kim went a step above in buy one, give one. And I think, Kim, you really need to market that and put that on your website as what are we doing, while the crisis is going on, because who's donating shoes? That's smart.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, thank you.
Perfect. All right, Ms. Kim, what's your favorite part about the call so far?
I have to say the injection of positivity into my Monday, it's been a really super hectic day. Like, I felt like it couldn't have been past 10 a.m. yet, but it was already 2. So I know, like, hearing a little bit more and some reminders about, again, how many of our restaurants and everybody are struggling, but at the same time hearing some little bursts of good news and seeing everybody's smiling faces, especially when we're all locked at home. It's really good. It's just really good to see people's faces, even if we can't be in person.
That's cool. Thank you for playing a part in this. It's huge. All right, Mr. JT.
Jason, I think just seeing the power of the internet when Debbie Smith can come on from Southern California and join our little group here of this task force. That just shows me how incredible the tools are that we've got. And honestly, I'm looking forward to Wednesday, Jason. Appreciate what you're doing, how you've transitioned GMA from the face-to-face meetings that we had to bringing everything on the internet. It's inspiring. Thank you.
I appreciate that. For sure. All right, Mr. Roger, what's your favorite part about the call?
Oh, just the connecting with folks over again. sharing ideas. Yeah, washable shoes, interesting.
It's a cool deal, man. It's a cool deal. All right, Miss Heather.
My favorite part was really hearing about Okabashi, what they're doing for, the healthcare workers, or I guess around the world, if they, are tuned to that, and LD, and calling around the community there to see what's needed and trying to make that happen for them. So that's awesome.
Yeah, sweet. All right, Miss Debbie, this is your first call. Glad to have you on the line with us. What was your favorite part about the call?
Well, just getting to see what it is you're doing in Georgia. This way of connecting is kind of inspirational, because as I mentioned, we do have an association in Southern California, and we want to make those connections, those linkages. Our community colleges are using their 3D printers to help the medical industry by doing the face masks. And I heard you, as I came on a little bit late because of the time difference, I realized I was late, that you've got, we don't want to saturate the market with too many, face masks. So our college is going to do the ear guards. Maybe you've seen them with for the ear straps from the face masks instead. Just so that we can be doing our part. But the community colleges are stepping up, and they can be a valuable resource to business. It's not maybe the first place business thinks of when when they're in a time of crisis, but we're glad to be able to assist. And our particular college does industrial, electrical, mechanical training predominantly. So we had to think on our feet and quickly get up to speed like you are here, and go remote so that we could continue training our students, because there's such a huge demand in our region for a skilled workforce. I see it in your newsletters that it's a big issue in Georgia as well. So you've got a lot of manufacturing, a lot of huge manufacturers. We don't have the headquarters in SoCal that you do. But just here to learn as much as I can. It's good to see faces out of state and see what's going on in other places. So very helpful to hear what you're doing and how you're going about it.
That's cool. Cool. Like I said, you're welcome. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. All right, Miss Amy.
Well, I've enjoyed seeing everybody's faces as well, and getting to know you guys. This is our new form of a virtual hug, I think. And so we're kind of happy. And as a hugger, it's really hard for me not to hug, but enjoying getting to know, what the challenges are that you guys see out there, and challenges of the customers, so that I can try to bring some better solutions. And I was trying to register for the thing on Wednesday, and I know it's a member only, so now I'm going to hit up my new regional director to allow me to join the membership, because I love it that it's such an active group, and y'all seem to be really close as well. So that means a lot to me, that it's not just kind of fake friends on Facebook or LinkedIn. It's really a connection with, personalized connection. So I look forward to meeting you all in person soon, and I promise I'll put my face on before the next call, so so the camera can be on. I have a sticky over my camera.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool. We're glad to have you online with us. But yeah, this is like a lot like family. I mean, last year we had about 3,500 people attend events that we hosted, and we hosted about 120 events around the state. And those were all live, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, like events. They were networking, educational,
And the tours.
Yeah, and plant tours, a ton of them. And it is like a family. I mean, we work real hard to keep it that way. And so I appreciate you acknowledging
Thank you for letting me attend.
All right, Mr. Gene, tell us what's shaking, man. What's your favorite part about today?
Yeah, this is another constant reminder of how social we are, right? I mean, we're told that we have to just be in our bunkers, and they take away our phones, and I'm starting to get the feeling what it feels like being my 16-year-old daughter when I tell her, you're not allowed to have your phone anymore.
Ooh.
But this kind of gives a good portal for us to kind of exchange information. I'm almost wondering if we, have to have something similar to this, like a vehicle that continuously gives us that virtual freedom to kind of talk, where we don't literally have to physically be online and being able to have this kind of information exchange, so we know what's going on in terms of deliveries, in terms of what's going on in the world. You know, it's a great portal that we were forced to use, but you know, I think it does serve the benefit of actually having.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that we are forever more changed in business and in the association space. I mean, for sure, and in relationships, we're going to be, you know, there's going to be a percentage of virtual, I think, that will never go away now, because we've all been forced to. I mean, up till, you know, 2 months ago, we had never done a webinar ever, like none. And so we went from, you know, 100% live face-to-face events to 100% virtual overnight. And it's been a brutal transition. We have made it, but I think that we'll always have a little component now going forward, because like you said, it's great to be able to bring folks in from all across the country, you know, being able to provide that way. So, well,
Jason,
with that,
not to interrupt, but to that effect, if y'all have not watched the Saturday Night Live skit about a team's first Zoom call, you have to watch it. It will make you laugh till you cry.
I love it. I love
it. On last week.
Well, we will. I have to get in there and take a look at that one for sure. All right, well, guys, this has been a great day, another great day at GMA. Make sure you register for some of the upcoming events. And again, thank you all for your participation in plugging in. Roger saying wave. Everybody look this way. Everybody look this way. Look this way. Look this way. Look this way. So one of the things that we always do at our live events is we do a picture of everybody smiling and waving. So smile and wave, smile bigger, smile bigger. There you go, smile bigger. All right, beautiful. All right, so we'll pass that along, and make sure you post in the notes. We're going to post this on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and just share in your notes what your favorite part of today was, what were your takeaway, because we want to invite other folks to be able to benefit from this. These calls are recorded. They'll be available. Make sure you pass them along to anybody else that you think might get some benefit from it. And Debbie, like I was mentioning, we have a whole list of all the calls that we've made in the past month and a half that are available for anybody to look at going forward. So
I'll take a look.
Yeah,
there's
they're
some really
good.
cool
They're
ones
good
out there
listens.
as well.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Again, next week it's 10 o'clock on Tuesday, and we're going to be sharing some more successes and some wins. And Gene, I've got one more person I'd like to connect you with as well on some materials. So give me a call when we wrap this call up. With that, been another great day, GMA.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you guys
everyone.
soon.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.